All right, our latest penultimate CFP rankings. One's going to play 2. Georgia is going to play Bama. Texas Tech up to the 4th spot, thinking a bye is possible now if they can beat BYU. Let's see, teams 5, 6, 7, 8 all get the weekend off. Interesting switch with Bama and Notre Dame at the 9 and the 10 spots. Possibilities abound. We're also going to see that Tulane and North Texas are ranked, but James Madison is as well. So they got in finally, but they're behind the 2 teams from the American who are playing for that CFP spot. Let's unpack this a bit, AT. What hit you first?
We'll start at the bottom and save some meat up at the top for the guys. But with Tulane and North Texas both being ranked ahead of James Madison, that means the winner of the American Championship is going to be the highest-ranked Group of 5 team. There's no way that JMU can jump them. Right. One might argue that they shouldn't jump them, but that's pretty much set in stone, and that was a loud statement by the committee.
And so it's also possible that JMU could win, and if Duke wins the ACC, then JMU is also going to be going.
There is that possibility.
Group of 5 teams.
That is Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, that you just heard scream in the background.
But at the same time, that just means the ACC champ could be left out if it's Duke. You could have Miami still get in.
Miami is pulling hard for Georgia in a lopsided victory in the SEC championship game. Because if Alabama were to fall out, then you could get both Notre Dame and Miami in the field. Although there'd be a lot of clamoring by Bama fans that how are we getting kicked out just by having to play in the championship game?
Well, you have to measure that you're still playing a game, so that goes into the formula. You played a game, and this was your record in that game, or this was the outcome of that particular game, so that has to be part of the equation. Big 12 is sitting there with BYU now in that 11th spot. So they must win, and if they do beat Tech in this rematch, both, I believe, will be in. Tech is not going to fall too far from that, 4th spot currently. So both of those teams would get in. And I don't see a lane for my Longhorns.
And Aaron's Notre Dame team can't have that happen.
Right.
Because it would be them that would be kicked to the curb then.
And of that top 10, Alabama is the only one that absolutely has to win. You've got the 1 versus 2. And if Bama does beat Georgia, Georgia's not going to drop out. That sets up for some interesting motivation when it comes to the SEC championship.
And the committee didn't care that Lane left.
No,
they didn't care.
Yeah, and we also been following that story so closely, so not everyone is really leaving with him now.
Yeah, a number of those offensive assistants have been given the permission to go back, and who knows where they actually will end up. They're going to be courted by the...
to go back and be recruited for 2 weeks through the playoffs to go back to Baton Rouge.
There would be no greater justice for an Ole Miss fan than to be able to get Charlie Weiss Jr. and the offensive line coach to stay with Pete Golding and tell Lane to go pound sand and get somebody new.
With the funny part being that Lane is also going to be getting paid a bonus by LSU for the money he would have gotten for the wins at Ole Miss in the playoff. But that part of the story aside, can Bama lose in a close game and still get in? And I know we're at the tail end here and you want to be in the SEC championship game, but just as we're saying that's a data point, you know, your Longhorns, I thought they might move up more, and one of their data points is the loss to Ohio State on the road week 1.
Well, I'm going to say no. I don't believe Bama gets in without winning this ball game.
I agree.
They could be a 3-loss team, and such as my Longhorns, too many 1 loss and 2 loss in front of them.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, BJ. It is interesting that they did move them up and swap places with Notre Dame. But I'll say this. Texas got punished for giving us what we want as fans, which is good football. What we're going to see now is an absolute concerted, universal move away from these games that can't be won, because what the committee is saying is that they value wins, period. You can't afford those losses, and we're going to get cheated because of the way that the system is set up.
Which is why television and the conferences have to mandate the non-conference schedules. They're like the NFL. You get it; it's programmed in.
Oh, yeah.
SEC 1, this is your schedule. SEC 2, Big 10 1, this is your schedule. It has to go that way. Otherwise, we are going to just...
So is that going to eliminate all the discussion around, well, this guy shrinks the schedule, is this? Well, they earn that schedule by manner of how they performed a season ago.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to have to understand this is the new way forward. Yes, their schedule may appear to be easier than your team's schedule. And this team has elevated its play, and it's going to take advantage of that easier schedule.
Plus everybody plays 9 conference games. Would solve a lot of that, I think, across
Everybody's
the
got to
board.
be at 9 conference games.
9 conference games.
And it's a little bit more problematic because the economics of the university system, how many home games I need. But if everybody's going to take this big check from the television suitors, there should also be a mandate as to how who the competition will be.
Won't this also foster a move to an expanded playoff?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. As an and/or to this idea about mandating who plays whom in the non-conference, if you go to where, okay, the top 2 teams from the Big Ten and the SEC, they're all going to play each other like a regular conference championship game, but the 3rd best team from the Big Ten either plays the 6th best, 4th best plays the 5th best, either from the same conference or from another conference.
You're talking about play-in games at the end.
As an expanded playoff, as on conference championship weekend is kind of where it begins. And 1 and 2, you're already in. If you want to just preserve conference championships as a way of getting a trophy, hanging a banner, a memory, something to strive for without being penalized for losing on that stage.
The reason I think that works is because it maintains the control within the conferences that have the pre-existing television relationships with the networks. Rick, I love your idea, but that would require, what's the word? Leadership, consensus, logic. So it's a great idea, but college football, unfortunately,
how's that going
for
so
us,
far?
not so good. So I think having some sort of play-in system like that is going to be the incremental step to where we end up eventually. And I think it's in the next 10 to 12 years, 2031, 32, when all of the television network contracts kind of expire, the grant of rights, that's when the breakoff is coming. All of these negotiations are leading up to what ends up being a breakoff, and that's when you get collective bargaining and you have the entities going to the networks as one body.
By the way, I just wanted to point out Arizona, number 18.
Great job by Brent Brennan.
Your guy.
Hey, Brent Brennan, former, I coached him. He was a walk-on wide receiver
He got
at
dunked.
UCLA.
I mean, that was a great stretch run.
Fabulous year at Arizona. Way to go, Brent.
Yeah. Anything else? Anyone?
But when this goes to 24,
Yes.
and the Big Ten gets 8, and the SEC gets 8, and the rest of you peasants just worry about the next
Eat cake.
8.
Eat cake.
Well, the other topic we've had is, does the Group of 5 have its own championship tournament and stuff?
I absolutely wholeheartedly advocate for that.
Yeah. And there's no way.
They're not playing with a full deck anymore because their teams get poached.
100%. We're going to see a greater and greater divide. I'm not saying that it's going to what we see in the Ivy Leagues, but all of the good players that are getting developed at the lower levels are getting poached up. That's going to make the disparity even more. And I think we saw that early on this season in the Big Ten with the MAC with those huge score disparities. Remember how 40, 50, 60, 70 points early? It's already starting to show up.
The 2 MAC championship teams, the Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan, both started the season 0-3, playing against the big boys.
Like Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State played Wake Forest. Well, I think it was like a 1-point game. Got smoked by Indiana. Otherwise, just one loss the rest of the way. It's
well,
that highlights the difference.
This is the minor leagues for the big boys now. But those kids have aspirations. A Trinidad Chambliss,
exactly.
Look what he's doing at Ole Miss. They have aspirations to play at this level. They may have been snubbed. The kid, this is not group. Well, they are Group of 5, Group of 6. Caleb Hawkins, no offers whatsoever.
Freshman.
None. 0.
He'll have some next year.
Oh, he's gonna have plenty.
Probably Oklahoma.